Now we're going to go over the second half of the nesting screen. Before we do that though, I would like to show you one last feature we have up top, which is cut inside out. If you would like the labels to be placed on one side of the duct, you can keep this checked. If you would like the labels to be placed on the other side of the duct so that the bottom of this duct is facing up, we can click uncheck. Here, as we check cut inside out, you will see if we click on Renest, now you see that PractiCAM has flipped over all the pieces and renested them. This way we can label it on these sides. Let's go over our icons one at a time. We have automatic nest, which is what we use whenever we'd like to renest something. We can make a modification to our nest and then decide we want it back the way we want by clicking on automatic nest. Here we have our waste reduction. Toggle on and off. Now there'll be a tutorial directly after this one on everything inside waste reduction. Essentially, preparation has two sections. The one you're looking at here, and the second part is waste reduction. This is where we decide all of our cutter settings. We have the icon full screen toggle, which is consistent throughout the software. It'll basically enlarge the bottom screen and take over the top. We can toggle it on and off just by clicking one time. Here we have an icon that says change view. We don't have to look at just one sheet at a time. We can left click our mouse and then stretch out how many different screens we'd like to see. For example, if we'd like to see 2 screens, we can move it over to 2. Now we can see both of our screens one at a time, and we can actually move pieces from one sheet to the other. Here is add an empty sheet. If we would like to add a third sheet, you can see here that we only have 2 sheets total. But if we'd like to add a third sheet, we can click on add empty sheet, select the stock and quantity we want, and press OK. Now you'll notice that the bar is moved up here because we actually have 3 sheets now. We have the 2 that we used for nest plus the empty one. If we'd like to change a view back to 1, we can click on to do so. Over here we have icons that allow us to move throughout the nesting. In other words, we can rotate pieces, drop them in the scrap, or trade them between different sheets. For example, I can say left click, move, and then select a piece. Now when I am holding on move, my left mouse click will move the piece and my right mouse click will rotate it. If I select rotate, the left mouse click will rotate the piece and then the right mouse click will actually move the piece. Now we're going to move this piece into our scrap inventory over here. You will notice on the right that PractiCAM keeps an entire scrap inventory of everything that is cut. I can move any pieces that I like directly from here into the scrap if I'd like, or I can take them out of the scrap and place them right here if I want. Now when you're using the move key or the rotate key, it's important to know that you don't have to do things freehand. For example, notice here I'm going to click on the rotate key. I can select the piece I want, and you will notice up here that I have an angle. If I decide to put in, say, 45 degrees and hit enter, it will rotate it every time I hit enter at 45 degrees. You'll notice that if I do have a blank that is going to overlap another blank, PractiCAM will mark it with a red dot. If I want to just move it out of the way, you will see now that it is clear. We have here an icon that says flip. If I would like to flip just one piece, I can click flip, select the piece I'd like to flip, and you'll notice now that we have the backside color. So I can flip pieces over one at a time as I like. I don't have to just go cut inside out and flip them over all at once. We have here a ruler for measuring, and then we have our zoom in key. Here you can see the lead ins and lead outs to cut this. We have a zoom out key, a frame zoom, and of course our fit to view, which brings everything back to center screen. In order to change pages, all we have to do is click up and down our browser here between the sheets, or we can go one sheet at a time using these icons over here. Last sheet, which goes to the last sheet, or we can go to the previous sheet, or just say jump to first sheet. Navigating throughout our preparation section is relatively easy to do. Now we're going to do a tutorial on waste reduction.